Good evening, everyone, and I'd like to welcome everyone to our Public Council meeting. So before I get started here, I'd like to ask if you call the meeting to order. Tonight I have with me is Abby Stanley, and she was selected for the mayor for the day, so she'll be helping me out here tonight. So between the two of us, you be patient with us. Hey, two of us, two new ones. Okay, so new business?
New business.
Okay, so first of all, we'll go around, and it's Councillor Tapper.
Thanks and best wishes.
Thanks and best wishes. Okay. Next one is Councillor Manning.
Do I say it?
Yeah.
Councillor Manning.
Pass.
Councillor Pollard.
Councillor Pollard.
Pass.
Councillor Appleby.
Councillor Appleby.
Thank you, and an emergency alert.
Councillor Gause.
Pass, please.
Yes. Okay, and I've got, thank you. All right, so next we have,
Adoption of agenda.
okay, could I have a motion for the adoption of the agenda, please?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Do we have any Q&A? Okay, and now,
Adoption of a public council meeting minutes dated October 30th, 2023.
okay, could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay,
Conflict and of
Okay.
interest.
yeah. Do we have anybody that's, everybody's got the list in conflict? No, so we're moving right along. Proclamation,
Proclamation,
presentation.
presentation, questions and answers session.
So we have no proclamations or presentations, and there was no Q&A.
Business arising.
Okay, is there anything from the Business Arising report? No?
Correspondence.
We have no correspondence, and now we'll have the
Communities
committees
of
of council.
council.
Perfect. Okay. We had no committees off the whole, and so now it's over to
Planning and land use development. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have 4 items on the agenda here tonight. First one is an application for an amendment for an Ellard Place amendment from RSA to regional large lot or residential large lot, residential infill to residential large lot. So I'm just going to read this part out. We're in receipt of an application proposing to amend a 2.619 hectare size property currently zoned residential subdivision area, RSA, for the purpose of extending Ellard Place in a westerly direction and subdividing land for a future 7-lot residential subdivision. We didn't have any issues with that, so the committee recommended that goes ahead. So the motions to adopt Torbay Development Regulations 2015 and 2025, Amendment Number 12, 2023, Ellard Place Amendment, which will be rezoning property at 26 Quarry Road Extension from RSA and RI to RLL as tabled. So the town may subsequently consider a development application for an up to 7-lot residential subdivision unserviced at 26 Quarry Road Extension, subject to the proponent being made fully aware of all future responsibilities for the subdivision. This shall include subdivision design, required road upgrade to Ellard Place, minimum 6-meter pavement to first T intersection, construction, engineering, stormwater management, surveying, legal and financial requirements as outlined in the background report. So moved.
Second?
discussion.
Quick question. I don't see any note here of green space, Councillor Pollard. Is there any requirements. Normally with subdivision development, there's conversation around green space. I don't see it in the motion. I'm just curious if that's part of the discussion or what's happening with that consideration.
Great question, and I don't have the answer right off the top of my head, but I shall turn to Julia.
Thank you.
So it was assumed that there wouldn't be any physical green space donated there. There's, hardly any room for like a tot lot or that. So they would be subject to providing a 10% cash in lieu payment, and that'd be part of the subdivision agreement that we would sign with them.
So is that covered in the motion?
It doesn't really have to, but we will certainly make sure that that's included in the, it's one of the standards. Yeah.
Okay, and that was the second question I had. I just wanted to know, is there a standard for that for, there's 7 lots here, so what I'm wondering is there a criteria of X number of lots or X number of size, or how does that work for the green space discussion? Because, it's reasonable, it's a 7 large lot that, we don't have a green space and that the 10% in lieu is there. But I'm just curious, and I don't know if it is part of the conversation around updating the municipal plan, or if there's a standard or standards maybe committee wants to think about around that. I don't know what we have, I've no idea. I just wanted to raise it because I think it's important to have those green spaces.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, did you want to? Okay. So we're kind of at the amendment stage right now only. So when we get the actual application for the subdivision, that'll be one thing that will be reviewed. And then as council considers this, once an application comes forward, then there'll be decision made exactly how that's being dealt with. There is requirements in the municipal plan on how to deal with that. So that's specified as we review then the application.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Associated with that motion, there's a motion for the need to actually survey and appraise. I'll read the motion as we speak to it after. Motion for department staff to obtain quotes for preparation of a survey as well as an associated professional appraisal so town can make an offer to purchase the northeastern most corner of the property at 52 Quarry Road and to advise property owner of the town's plan and how the town intends to proceed. So moved.
Second?
So this is we need to get a piece of property surveyed as our road actually goes over somebody's property. So we have to get a survey on that and get an appraisal on it, then enter negotiations with that person to purchase that property, because if not, it might impact how we proceed on Eller Place overall as well.
Quick question. That's okay?
Hmm?
Just curious, is this appraisal related to the first motion?
Loosely, it covers the road that goes into where the subdivision is going to be.
Right, so the question I'm wondering is there any part of the cost for that survey that could be part of the development? And
No.
could you just explain to the taxpayers why the town is paying for it if it's related to another motion? Because we'd probably be asked about that, Councillor Pollard.
Because the road goes over someone's property en route to where the subdivision is. We actually are on that person's property now at the present time as we speak.
So it's something we should have in future,
Should be.
yeah.
Yeah, and we should, there are other towns as well, but at this point in time, this one is front and center to us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Last thing, did you say there are other properties where roads are going through the town has on other people's?
Did I say that?
Did you say?
So, yeah, there are other, let's put it this way, there are other properties around where land ownership is something that the town and the owners have to come to agreement on somewhere along. It's probably commonplace in older towns where properties weren't properly surveyed, we push roads in, developers push roads in, and just history of town property being on property is not really owned by the town.
Can we get a list of what those towns those roads are and what's going on with it, Councillor Pollard? Because that sounds like a liability that taxpayers should be aware of if there are monies owed to individuals where a town road is intersecting with someone else's property, and what the strategy would be to deal with that.
Yeah, there should be a list somewhere of where those properties are, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
The next motion, it relates to a 40-lot residential subdivision unserviced. 266 Bullockstown Road. So the preamble is there. I'm just going to read the motion because the motion is fairly lengthy. So the motion to conditionally approve a residential subdivision of up to 40 residential lots unserviced east of Captain Matthew Davis Drive, south of Forest River Road, north of Cedarwood Lane, subject to the following conditions. Approvals, conditions, and requirements as outlined in attached background report. Subdivision being considered approved in concept only, subject to the delineation of the existing wetland in the area, the provision of the revised floodplains and floodplain outline, determination of associated buffers, and submission of updated and revised engineering drawings and calculations for review and approval by the town. The design of the subdivision ensuring zero net runoff and storm retention requirements are met. The Torbay Municipal Plan and Development Regulations 2015-2025, more specifically the RLL Land Use Zone Table requirements, the Torbay Subdivision Engineering Guidelines, and the town's tax and fee structure in effect. The signing of a subdivision development agreement that shall be registered with the Registry of Deeds once executed. No development proceeding until such time as a development agreement has been executed. Refundable deposits received by the town, and a construction permit issued by the town. All design and legal costs, review of drawings, infrastructure costs, and refundable deposits shall be that of the developer. So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Question. Sorry, Deputy Mayor. I'm just trying to understand, we're approving a residential subdivision of up to 40 residential lots without anything in place right now about what the design is going to look like, what the traffic flow is going to look like, what the zero net runoff is going to be, any of those pieces of information. At what point, if we approve this concept right now, does council have the right to say, whoa, hold on, that doesn't meet certain criteria that the municipality requires for development?
Sure.
I think that's really important, especially the conversation up around Country Drive where we had all those speed bumps go in. We've had a lot of conversation only recently about the intersection here and how you access that area. So without any work to explain to us what that might be, what that impact might be, I'd be curious to see what that looks like before approving the motion.
What particular, if you look, the drawings that are attached there, I guess shows the outline and the proposed layout of the subdivision itself, right? And we did have some conversation around the entries and exits and emergency exit up off to Bullockstown Road. And this is really, I guess, the first part. They still have to come back with us with an engineering design. Obviously, you have to start off with a concept and then move on to the engineering design and lay out the zero net runoff and how they're going to retain water in that, because we know of the issues in forest landing in terms of the water issues we have, and some actually development ideas, not development ideas, but remediation ideas we have in our information that we got from our consultants some while back in terms of the flooding down in that area. So all that will be tied in based on what engineering drawings they come back with, and then we approve along the way as they come, and certainly we have a right of refusal until we get to the point in time we sign off and everything.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just curious, so with, in terms of the Bullockstown Road, would that be the emergency exit? How will that be, will it be structured kind of what we have in Forest Landing now with just basically those two posts and the chain in between the stops? I'm just wondering about any more flow of traffic going on Bullockstown Road that wouldn't have access to Forest Landing through that emergency exit.
ask the director to correct me if I'm wrong, but it would be just essentially an emergency way out. It wouldn't be able to accommodate a constant flow of traffic. That's not the intent.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
And may I, just to answer Councillor Appleby's question also, basically, if council supports this motion, the town will issue a very detailed approval in principle, and it's like a checklist. So if any of the items that are on that checklist are not met, then staff aren't really authorized to issue a permit, right? So they have a very large list of check marks to check off, right? Including also approvals from the Water Resources Division and our consulting engineers, and many other check marks. So, but they have done quite a bit of background homework already, so. Okay.
Okay.
Just want to comment, this development is 40 potential lots. It's very early in the process, very, very early in the process. And I want to thank the director for bringing it forward. You know, time will tell what the developer comes back with, but I think we should be patient, and like any large lot development, we're in the same boat.
Okay, that's it? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Everybody wants to my computers decides to slow down on me now. The next is the land use referral from the town of Portsmouth Coast St. Phillips. So there's a proposed amendment from the town of Portsmouth Coast St. Phillips to amend the St. John's Urban Regional Plan, Municipal Plan, and subsequent development regulations. The town of Portsmouth Coast St. Phillips is proposing to redesignate and rezone an area of land on Old Broad Cove Road at the intersection of Maggie's Place for development of a new secondary school. So the regional plan amendment is required to redesignate the same land from rural to urban development. So the staff recommends they have reviewed the proposed regional plan amendment and find no concerns with the amendment, as the changes in location are not near the Torbay municipal boundary, do not affect Great Pound watershed area in any way or form, and have no policy impact nor negative effect on the town of Torbay. So in response to that, we're recommending that our approval be forwarded on to the town of Portsmouth Coast St. Phillips. No motion on that, Julia?
Sorry, say that again?
Was there a motion?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a motion in the cover report.
I got it.
Okay.
I swore it was loading because I went to the reports behind. So the motion to respond to the town of Portsmouth Coast St. Phillips citing no objections to proposed regional plan amendment number 4, 2023 Maggie's Place amendment as per wording outlined in attached background report. So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
On 4.
Okay, motion carried.
Yeah. The next one is also for a regional plan amendment referred by the town of Portsmouth Coast St. Phillips, and has a deal with an eco-village and sustainable agriculture. It's an interesting proposal. We received a referral from the town of Portsmouth Coast St. Phillips proposing an amendment to the regional plan to be able to consider the development of an eco-village which combines a co-housing development with sustainable food production. As per standard practice, PCSP is required to consult with all area municipalities that are subject to the regional plan. The committee reviewed the referral documents for PCSP in relation to the proposed regional plan amendment and concurs with the department's recommendations. Therefore, we table the following motion. Motion to respond to the town of PCSP citing no objections to the proposed regional plan amendment number 6, 2023 Eco-Village Amendment as per wording outlined in attached background report. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Final motion to accept permit listings for weeks ending November 9th, 2023. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
It's always my report, Your Worship.
Okay, so now, need to say,
Administration, Human Resources. Councilor Manning.
Thank you. We had our meeting on Monday, November the 6th, and at that point, we have recruitment and selection, economic development and tourism officer. If I'm not mistaken, the interview process has all been done, and I think they're at the last process there now, so we should know very shortly, have an offer gone out for that position. Corporate Services Administrator, like to welcome the successful candidate was Stephanie Barrington, and welcome aboard, Stephanie. She's going to be starting on November the 27th. We have our Accounts Receivable and Procurement Administrator, and we're looking at having that filled by November 17th. And also the Seasonal Heavy Equipment Operators, 2023-24 snow clearing season. We have, I'm just reading this now, yeah. First round of interviews have been completed, and the aim is to have the position staffed by November 17th. And the 2023-24 snow clearing season is scheduled to commence on December the 7th. Next are the policies and procedures. We haven't started getting into detailed work on that other than where it's to there right now. But the policies and procedures are the next thing to be focusing on and working towards getting completed. Other than that, now our next meeting is November 20th. So ends my report. Any questions?
thank you, Councilor Manning.
Thank you.
Corporate Services. Councilor Tapper.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we did have our meeting on November 14th. So for our report, which is document number 1, I'll just read the first few into the record. So payroll, regular payroll for 51 employees for the 2-week period ended October 25th, 2023. Total $111,083.85. Accounts payable for the 2-week period ended November 3rd, 2023. Invoices in the amount of $203,714.07 were processed. So we do have some invoices for council approval. The following 8 operating invoices totaling $161,584.44 are presented for approval. Invoice number 6004195, Brent Tractor Limited. The amount is $12,933.33. Invoice 49358, Construction Signs Limited, $9,188.50. Invoice October 2023, CIBC Mellon, $22,968. Invoice RE006567, KBRS, $28,670.94. Invoice October 17, 2023, NL Power, $12,917.98. Invoice October 16 to the 31st, 2023, Receiver General of Canada, $33,181.98. Invoice 225424, Triware, $5,750. Invoice 224579, Triware, $5,750. Invoice 20231700899934, Wajax Limited, $20,798.31. Invoice GM6642, WSP E&I Canada Limited, $20,925.40. Okay, gonna make a correction here, thanks to the director. Actually, there are 10 invoices listed here. And the total is 173,084.44. So if I can make that correction. So I move for payment.
Second.
Oh, I've got a question. So does that, I know mayor just automatically goes in, but I'm going to ask now the proper procedure. Am I supposed to turn that now over to you? That is the proper procedure. That's the way I've been doing it. So I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Pollard while I get clarification on this question that I have. Chair, so I just got a question here with the KBRS Human Resources Consulting. I thought that we had already paid 10 on that. So,
10 was paid, and this is the final invoice for KBRS.
I know, but I didn't think that I'm sorry, but I didn't think that it was that much. So, can we, even for this emotion be gone in there for that to be paid? My understanding it was less than that.
Yeah, I'll go back and look at the
figure that we had, because there was some negotiating in there, and that was my understanding that. So what way then does that have to be done? Because it's in there now as a motion for that to be paid, so can we hold on to that particular invoice until, what way does that work?
Any invoice that you actually don't want to pay, I can not run the check for it and just hold on to it until you get a final answer.
Until Mark,
And then
okay.
if it's right, we can pay it. And if it's not right, we'll put a new motion through in the next meeting to rescind payment of that invoice and put in the new one.
Can we pass the gavel back to you?
Pass it back to me, so now you can speak?
here it is.
Okay.
Can we not approve this one at the present time and bring it back for approval when we have all the details, rather than, then we'll know when it comes back what exactly the end result of this is?
Okay.
So,
Is there any difficulty with that if we do stall it?
For that one, no. We could just pull it entirely if you wanted to, and just change your motion and pay the other 9.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Hold on.
sorry.
All sorry?
So is Councillor Tapper is just going to pull that invoice from
That
his
one
report?
individual, so there's 9.
So do we need a friendly amendment for that, or is that just, is he able to pull that? Is that okay? That's fine. Yep, okay. Just
So-
checking.
The new total would be 144,413.5.
Your mic is not on. No. Okay,
Okay, I move
All
that
right.
motion.
okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right.
Okay, in number 2, the committee motions, there is one. It's for the salt budget transfer. Just read this out. The remaining budget for salt purchase for the 2023-24 winter season is $63,591. The town requires $137,120 to purchase the required salt for the entire 2023-24 snow clearing season. Sufficient surplus funds have been identified for the 2023 budget to reallocate funds from the town's 2023 budget for debt service payments. So the committee recommends transfer of an available surplus from the debt service accounts 5180-6610 MYCW Torbay Roads 60,000 and 5181-6610 MYCW Stormwater Management 13,500. So transfer to 5100-6220 Ice Control-Salt 73,500. So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
So there's other reports there and documents for your reading. If there's any questions, you have them now or later, we'll hear them.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Tapper.
Thank you.
Now,
Economic Development and Tourism. Councillor Appleby.
Thank you, Mayors. The Economic Development and Tourism Committee met on November 9th, 2023. We weren't the full 7 to 8 p.m., my recollection, CEO. I don't think we were that long.
No.
I think it was our most efficient meeting that we've ever had.
It's about 35 minutes.
Yeah, so just update that for
Yeah.
the record. Because I was pretty proud to have such an efficient meeting. The business directory, we chatted about that. There was an update made to include Made to Move Physio. The fall community market is coming up soon. We're looking forward to that. So there are 20 vendors total. The later the market was to be finalized, capacity of 36 tables. The hours of the market will be 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it's going to be excellent for anybody who wants to support some local artists and do some Christmas shopping. Economic Development and Tourism Officer, we had an update from Councillor Manning that that process has been underway and we're looking forward to welcoming a new Economic Development and Tourism Officer. And the meeting was adjourned and our next meeting is going to be November 23rd at 7 p.m. 7:27 adjourned there, look at that. Okay, so it was in there, my apologies. That's the report. If there's any questions, please let me know.
okay.
If not, that ends my report. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Appleby. Next we have
History, Heritage, and Culture and Arts. Councillor Tapper.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So the committee, we did meet on November the 6th, myself and Deputy Mayor with Manager Noah. Just to mention some of the things that we covered. The manager of the History House provided an overview of operations and museum administration to date. So some of the things itemized under the operations report, grade 1 and 2 class visits for the Harvest Home program are complete. So we had 177 children go through. So there's a curriculum review and preparation continues. This will be one of the first significant items to be reviewed and implemented by the incoming advisory committee. So there's going to be some grades 3 and 4 visits for our children's Christmas activity. Staff continue to work on inventorying and organizing our archival holdings. There's quite a bit really left in storage, which most of it is inventoried, but obviously we got to go through the whole thing and make sure. Preparations are underway for the Festival of Trees, so I think everybody is looking forward to that on a few committees. And the work on heritage regulations continues. So there's an updated table of current grant applications presented as an Annex B here. Under Museum Services and Operations, Museum Advisory Committee nominations. So far we got 5 applications and several other tentative expressions of interest, which is really, really good. Under the Archival Reference Services and Operations, the Mannion Project, I did report an update on the Mannion Project Steering Committee. Notice was received from Memorial University that the application to the Irish Immigrant Support Program for funding to support the next phase of the project was unsuccessful. The manager advised that the steering committee will need to develop a revised work plan to be submitted to the federal and provincial governments in order to request changes to the approved scope of work. So obviously that was disappointing. It was a huge sum of money that unfortunately did not come through from the Irish government. But we still have 2 grants actually, totaling $85,000 that we're going to meet on and hopefully do some work still on the project, the Mannion project. Again, the Festival of Trees under Cultural Services and Program has finalized, the committee has finalized the schedule of events and developed a website, which is great. Torbay Beach. There may be interest in reviving the Torbay Beach Subcommittee. The beach area has natural, cultural, and historical value to the community. Further discussion of the beach area and where it fits in our current and further heritage regulations will be discussed at our next meeting. I went through some of the files. I still have, because the Torbay Beach Committee goes back to my day when I was mayor. They started, and obviously they made some wonderful progress, and you know, there's a lot of money put into the beach area. So there is still some interest there, so hopefully we may revive that in the near future. Any questions?
Just one question. The unsuccessful application to the Irish government, was there any indication from the Irish government themselves that they're still willing to look at another application or another run that way, or have we closed the door on that?
Yeah, that wasn't our first time applying for that. Not our first time, no, but you know, the committee.
Yeah.
But we were successful the first time around. Again, they did get a huge number. We got a letter from the Irish government explaining their rationale, and they had quite a number of applications throughout the world, actually. And you know, again, it was our second time around, so I think that may have some impact on it. But we could apply next year again if we want. So it's not shut.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Councillor Tapper. Next we have
Infrastructure and Public Works. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. We had a meeting at 8:15 on the 8th of November. There are no motions associated with this, and the majority of it is repeat, so I'm not going to read out all the individual items. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I will note that we're still, with the new zone meters, we are still getting our readings and flows from North Pond, and they haven't improved in our direction anyway. Let's put it that way. So they seem to be staying constant as per the report. So it doesn't look like we're going to get any extra support from North Pond in terms of able to add any more houses in the immediate future or to increase that draw from the pond. And I guess the other thing was we had a conversation around the intersection at Convent Lane, Marine Drive, and Torbay Road, and resurrected the old report that was done by Harborside Engineering at the time, and went down through that, and we probably reviewed it again in the future because a lot of things have changed, and one of the biggest things that changed is the 1.6 kilometer requirement for people or for children to walk to school, or non-busing area, I guess it is, because it's all busable now, and that may have different impacts, and even the need there for something other than a huge solution, shall we say. But we will revisit that. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, and the report is there. So in my report, Your Worship.
any questions? Okay. Thank you, Councillor Pollard.
Recreation and Community Services. Councillor Goss.
Thank you very much. We met on Tuesday, November 7th at 2:30. In attendance were myself, Deputy Mayor Mary Thorne-Goss, and our CAO, Sandy Hounslow. Items discussed: winter programs registration for these programs and events open November 22nd for residents and November 29th for non-residents. The winter community guide will also be available by November 15th. We'll be having a Christmas events and camp for our youth this Christmas. The event opened registration on November 15th, with the exception of the camp, which opens on November 16th. For residents, November 15th. Facilities, the director just updated us with our our new storage facility that we're going to be opening up soon. Torbay Common Christmas tree. Some residents may notice that this year we've actually got and purchased a 12-foot tree that is being planted in front of the common. Instead of getting one that each year we end up throwing it to be recycled. So this tree will grow along with the community, and I like this concept of having a tree that's going to be there forever. Some other things that were discussed: a Time and Torbay MOU and donation. The committee has closed their bank account and provided a check for $16,867.10 to the town. As agreed, the town will facilitate ensuring community groups listed are provided with their portion of the donation. And former committee members will be attending the council meeting November 27th to present the groups with the donation. Beyond that, age-friendly funding, we'll need an update for this plan. And then there's, within the report, is an updated breakdown of funding that the Director of Recreation Services applied for to date this year. Anything within the report, if there's any questions? If not, that so ends my report.
Councillor Goss, just on the funds that came back from the Time and Torbay bank account, I noticed there says $8,000 to legacy projects, specifically in infrastructure addition to a local park. Who makes the decision on that, or where does that money sit? Is there any process around it,
I'll leave that to the Director, please.
The committee has been fairly kind of leaving it up to us what we want to do with it. The legacy project was in the original agreement, but they've agreed that we can put it towards the stage if we want to, or some kind of other legacy piece that we choose as a town.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just make one comment? Really happy to see that the wreath making has sold out again this year. It is extremely popular. But I think I say this every year, so bear with me. We have these events, they're very successful. It's $20 a wreath, but the experience of going down there and creating the wreath is just phenomenal. I've been down there, it's amazing. I'm wondering if we could have a conversation about not having it sold out next year. Can we look at putting out something else to see if there's another ability to, it's not an expensive thing for us to do, but I know a lot of people really enjoy it, and it's a fabulous event that we have. So I don't know if there's any way to put on an extra space to see if the demand is there, Jen. I don't know if logistically, what that cost might be or how that might look, but just wanted to ask the question because I know every year it sells out, and I know it's a fabulous, fabulous event. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, we could look at adding, the only thing that comes to mind is the time, I guess, staff resources to go into collecting the materials. For the amount of people we have now, we need 50 bags of boughs, and which Public Works staff thankfully has agreed to help us out with. Well, they haven't agreed, they're going to do it all and just deliver it, and we just get to do the fun event. So thank you to them. But we could look at it, as long as we have the resources. I think probably if we did add a class, maybe Public Works and Recreation staff could combine to collect a little bit more for it.
Thank you. Yeah, even if we just add it another time space next year to see, but it's really brilliant. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Liaison committees.
Okay. So Atlantic Mayors, Knots, Intergovernmental Affairs, Jack Burns, Sports and Entertainment.
No update?
Okay. I know they were having some issues the past few days with their Zamboni and what was the name of the equipment? The condenser?
Condenser.
Yeah, it's down today. Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, Torbay Volunteer Fire Department, Councillor Manning had to leave, and UMC, no report. Okay, no new notices of motion.
New business.
No business? Oh.
Before we do that, just a quick question for the Jack Byrne. Sorry, I apologize for reading past it. But we're in the budget process now, and it's required for the Jack Byrne to provide to council information before the budget's out to know if there's gonna be any extra asks for next year. That was part of the agreement that we put in place last term of council. So just wondering if I could mention that for our reps to take it back, if there is gonna be any ask, that council be aware of it, because it has to be presented and approved before the budget happens, and we've been in positions in the past where the request has come. So I just want to issue that reminder, ask the question, make sure before we finalize the budget that the Jack Byrne, considers that before we finish that process.
No, it's a good point for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
New business. Council Appleby.
Thank you, mayors. Well, I would like to thank you for coming and participating with us this evening. You've done an amazing job. I also want to thank some residents in our community who I know this evening are out feeding homeless people. And it is the season where a lot of people in our community help people. They've been filling the infrastructure that we have down at the Commons and giving. So I just want to thank people for their generosity through the season. And the last thing I wanted to do was to give us all a little bit of a heads up. I don't know if you've heard it on the radio yet, but tomorrow morning at 10:55, there's going to be a testing of the Alert Ready system. So if your cell phone and your TV and your computer and everything starts screaming at you, be forewarned, it is only a test. It's a testing of the system and all will be well. So at 10:55 a.m. that is to happen tomorrow morning. I just want to share it. Thank you very much, mayors.
That's a good thing. Okay, Councillor Tapper, I think is the,
Yeah, no, I just want to take a minute to send out a thanks and best wishes to Tina and Rick Ricketts. They're the former owners of the coffee house, traditional coffee house in Delhi. I say the former owners because I'm sure we were all shocked a few weeks ago when we heard they were closing down. It was unfortunate, but again, they put in long hours between, their family did actually. But it was a small business that really brought a lot of people to our town, and it's unfortunate that they had to close, but I think there's still some life there for a new ownership to take over. But I was at a reception actually last week. Derek Diamond had it at his house for the people who became regulars at the coffee house on Thursday nights for the folk night, and it was a great tribute, and Rick and Tina really appreciated everybody getting together and having a few swallies and of course a few tunes as well. So again, hopefully Tina and Rick will stay active in the community. I'm sure they will because they have that personality. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so that's it. So I just wanted to say thank you for Abby to be here tonight. She did a great job on keeping me on track, telling me what I needed to do, where I needed to go to get the report. So thank you very much. And the only other thank you that I had is for everybody that was involved in the Remembrance Day ceremony on Saturday. Considering the weather, it was a great turnout, and I know we had Cameron there taking a live video, and I'm sure he must have been frozen along with a good few others. But anyway, really appreciate the effort that went into it. And we had the last thing was we had the Killycoles mayors and deputy mayors meeting in Balleen on last Tuesday. And I'd like to thank Minister Abbott, John Abbott, the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, for attending the meeting on very short notice. It was a really good meeting, so I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Stammer. So you got a few words to say?
Thank you to my mom and dad for your support. I enjoyed being mayor for tonight.
And would you like to say anything about the letter or when you wrote in and how you got selected for this, or?
Sure.
Okay.
On my essay, I wrote about how I believe that we might need some more sidewalk because me and my friend walk up to the park all the time, and not the park, but like other people's houses all the time, and we don't really have any sidewalks in our neighborhood. And I was thinking
So
how
what neighborhood do you live in?
I live in Streamside, that sort of neighborhood, and I was just suggesting how we could have more sidewalks. And I love biking, and there's 2 trails down by my house, but I believe that there should be a bunch of other trails, biking trails, walking trails, other trails in the neighborhood, or in any place. And I also said that I see a lot of littering everywhere. I've asked my mom and dad if I could try to do the help out with picking up litter, and I think we're gonna start doing that soon.
Wow. Thank you. Good job. This is a good time to be talking about all this because we're in the midst of doing up our budget. So, man down there in the back, Norm, we keep an eye on all this, and it's all taped, so that'll be really good. Oh, by the way, anyone listening, we have a meeting arranged on Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, for anybody who wants to have some input into our 2024 budget. So that's 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Now, is there any
Question and answer session.
Is there any questions? I don't have any. No? Okay. All right. And with that, the next public meeting.
The next public council meeting is scheduled to take place on Monday, November 27th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Council Chambers, Torbay Town Hall.
Okay. And with that, can I have a motion for an adjournment?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? No. Slam that right now.
Great job, Abby.
Great job.